example that there's no rules.
Yes.
There's no rules. It's all bullshit. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Do your best. Find whatever it is inside you that you can express.
That's it.
There's no rules. There's no rules for age. Like Ron White used to worry about that all the time. I think I'm too old. I'm like, what are you? You're Ron motherfucking White. You're a legend.
Period.
But it's like that humility that he has, even though he's got great confidence in his ability. Like Ron is a very humble guy, as successful as he is. But that humility that he is also that constantly has him writing. It constantly has him working. He's 40 years in the game. He never stops. And he's better now than he's ever been before. Now that he's sober, like he's a monster. A monster on stage.
Imagine hitting. To me, Ron White is on Mount Rushmore of comedy. For me personally, I know it's subjective.
Me too.
Some people are going to, whatever. But for me, because I judge comedy as a fan of I look at skits I look at specials like, what song stood out to me the most in the whole special? Like your special was your album. How many songs do you have that I tell my friends about like it's my song?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, Ron White has done more of that than I have more Ron White bits memorized than any other comedian. Just by default of how good he is at weaving these little quick 2-minute stories of just complete white trashery and drunkery, which is just my fucking specialty. It's I feel like he grew up on my street. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my mama likes Ron White. You know what I mean?
He was the first guy out here, He was the first guy that came. He moved here before the pandemic.
That's crazy.
Because he was always with us at the store. And then one day I called him up. I'm like, where the fuck you been, man? He goes, I moved to Austin. Fuck
Back
it.
to Texas.
He said he just loved it. He's like, there's no traffic. Everyone's nice. And I started thinking about it then. He planted the first seeds in 2018. I was like, can I live in Austin? Fuck, I don't know. Because my instinct has always been to move to the mountains. I want to live somewhere where there's no people.
Did you have mountains in mind? When you romanticized it, did you ever think of what mountains you would move to if you did it?
I really liked the mountains above Boulder. I lived there for a little while in 2009. But when I think about Montana sometimes, I think about just someplace more peaceful, Wyoming, somewhere just a little more peaceful, cold as fuck in the winter, but just more real. And that was my thought when I was living in L.A., but it was a necessity to get the fuck out of there. When the COVID stuff was going on, I'm like, they're not going to let this go. They're going to keep us in control. Once they have control of you like they had during the pandemic, wear a mask, got to get a vaccine, can't go here, can't go there, no businesses, everything's shut down, all the restaurants go under, all the comedy clubs go under. When they were doing that, I was like, they're not going to let this go. I got to get the fuck out of here. And when we came to Texas, it was wide open. Some places made you wear a mask, but it was a joke. It was a goof. It was weird. It was a completely different universe. We could go to, my kids were young, man. They were 10 and 12, and they wanted to go to restaurants. I'm like, we can go to a restaurant here and sit indoors. Everyone was terrified in LA, and they just weren't here. And the same results, the same thing happened to everybody, but over here it was a way more peaceful experience. And Ron, when we were out here, we started doing shows at the Vulcan. And one night, the first time Ron had been on stage in 8 months, he just grabbed me by my shoulders. He's like, whatever the fuck we have to do, we're going to keep doing this. He's like, you got to open up a club. And I'm like, all right, that's it. We're opening up a club. And the process began.
God, dude.
All because of Ron. Ron led me to think about moving here. Ron was already out here, so I knew that if I did move to Austin, at least Ron's here. And then Tony moved here, and then Brian Simpson moved here, and then the train kept a-rolling all night long. It was nuts.
I think it was by default. It was kind of a universe thing where there was a little bit of stale water that needed to be stirred.
Yeah.
And when you came, that stale water stirred and it awakened everybody. Hold on, there's choices outside of the same routine that we've been, because I'm sure y'all's life was store, weekends out, store. It
was improv too. I did in the Ice House. Yeah. There was a few clubs we did on a regular, because the more places to work out, the better. And when there were so many of us too. We'd have shows where it's Bill Burr's on, me, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer. They're crazy shows, because everybody was in L.A. It was a beautiful thing up until they shut everything down.
It's that beautiful here now, though, bud.
That's what's crazy.